Hey, what's up, everybody? Bdf 44 coming at you in another video. All right, so getting out today, feeling pretty good. I've settled into the room very good today, or these last couple of days rather. Shower is good for the first time in 3 cycles, man. The last 2 rooms I had very troubling showers, to say the least. Very troubling. This one's good. This one's really good. So I've been very pleased with that. The room is nice setup. Everything is a little different than what I'm used to as it pertains to this setup. I've only had this kind of room maybe twice in the 2 years I've been here. I like it. It's good. And I got an AC for this upcoming 3-week period, so there's no complaining at all. Yesterday, I decided to stay in and rest and be a little lazy. I did a couple of art pieces, did some laundry. But overall, it was a good day. I didn't really think too much about being productive at all, really. I did my exercise and my normal stuff, but aside from laundry, I slept during the day for about 3 hours. I just felt like my body could use a reset, and after the week that I had, which was pretty productive and pretty active. And so I think I replenished my energy pretty well, and I'm ready to get back to it. What else is going on? Not really much. Just gonna do my normal thing, go down to Hollywood, fill up my backpack. I got some oatmeal and mouthwash to buy, so that's gonna put some good weight in my backpack, maybe some potatoes as well. So I should be having a pretty good sweat on this particular trip. Heavy backpack and everything, as I intend to build my strength up from here. So, you know, it's just a regular run-of-the-mill day. Of course, preparing for Uncle Thurman to come in on Saturday rather. And so I just want to, just kind of work my regular routine, because I'm not really sure what the days will be like while he's here. Likely getting up a little earlier or coming back home a little later, whatever, something that would be a little abnormal for me, I'm sure. So, just living out my routine and doing what I normally do right now. So yeah, it's pretty good, man. It's no complaining at all. If anything, I'm very thankful. I was thanking God this morning for everything that He's done in my life and continuing to bring me through situations. And I'm thinking about all the things that I did in the past with my jobs and stuff like that. And it was good. It was a really good prayer session this morning, and asking the Lord to turn my anxiety into strength and fears into productivity, that kind of thing. And just living out my days, man. Trying to continue to be consistent in the various different things that I'm doing. So yeah, that's really what it is. Ain't nothing special going on, man. I've been paying a lot of attention to everything that I see online. Every day I tell you guys about what I see in the situation in Palestine and Israel and all of that stuff they're doing. It's still some of the same images, man. Ain't nothing changed. They're still hurting children. They still got mamas crying and holding dead babies. I hate to tell y'all this, but I'm still seeing more of that. More of that as usual in this genocide. I was interested in possibly going to see the Superman movie yesterday, even though I've been complaining to you guys about remakes. I understand that they kind of made the Superman movie parallel to what's going on is between Israel and Gaza. A lot of pro-Israel people are pissed off at that movie for exposing the truth about them and putting a mirror up to them to show them that they are actually the oppressor. And as I tell you, man, they look at themselves as above reproach, not just as it pertains to a mischief type mindset to where I can get away with what I want because I'm me, and it's not limited to that. They really believe that based on their holy Bible, their holy book and what they read, that they've been given the right to treat everyone bad if they choose. That it's their job to cleanse the world of anything that isn't Jewish. And so when you look at it from that lens, you understand how they go about not respecting really much of any life of any kind outside of their own. And they're so appalled at the idea that you would not place their lives above your own and everyone else's. And they expect that it's okay, that they should be able to lie to you, do weird things to you, and that you should have nothing to say about it because you're here to serve them like they. And because they live and believe that, a lot of what they think is like it's a strong disconnect. Yes, you are the oppressor. Yes, you are, in fact, the guys that need to be stopped in order for the people who don't have anything to be able to live free and be saved. Superman does need to come down from the sky and stop what it is that you're doing to these people. Yes, you're the bad guy. And it's like, from their perspective, that's just so offensive because, of course, they're not the bad guy. Now, if you were to do what they're doing, of course, you don't have the right because you're not Jewish. You know, but because they're Jewish, they have a right to do these things to you. And this is God's will that they're able to do these things. And you should have nothing to say about it because you're God. Like, they lived and breathed that. They believe that. And when it comes to our compliance, it's like it's just appalling that we're not compliant with this. It's absolutely ridiculous that we're not compliant with this. Like, oh yeah, yes, we're being the bad guy, but we have a right to. It's our duty. It's God's will that we be the bad guy, but you don't call it bad because God's will is that we get what we're supposed to have no matter what comes your way. Like, that's the mentality. And so when you look at it through that lens, you understand why they lie and don't care if their lies are being exposed or not, which is really confusion in and of itself. Because if I'm willing to lie, then chances are I have some concern about what the truth looks like. But if the lie I tell still expose the truth, somehow they are able to kind of drift away from the reality of what's supposed to come from being caught in a lie, but in that same space are afraid to tell the truth. It's like they don't respect who they're speaking to enough to cover their lie, nor respect themselves enough to cover their lie. But because they're chosen, and even if they're caught in a lie, it's supposed to be understood that it's fine. So if that's the case, why doesn't the truth suffice? And it's like they can't answer that because it's devilish confusion. And that's the point. A lot of what it is they're doing is in devilish confusion, as we've mentioned many times on this channel. And that's why it doesn't come together to make any damn sense. If you are the chosen ones, then why the hell are you lying to the goy about what it is your intentions are? If you are the ones that God has chosen for this and that, then why is it such a struggle for you to accomplish this and that? If you have no respect for the goy and for everybody who's not Jewish, then why are you trying so hard to convince us that what you're saying is true, even though it's not a very good job, because you're exposing that you're lying? And most of the things that you do, you've done all of these different things to rig governments and rig corporations or whatever, control so much so that you can then lie, but then not actually have any of your lies add up so that they make any sense when telling them. Hey, what did you do all that for if you were just gonna be caught in a damn lie any damn way? What'd you do? Why are you lying to a bunch of people that you plan on killing and enslaving? If you're the owners of all and you were the creators of whatever, however it goes, above reproach, then why the hell you need to lie? Shouldn't your truth suffice? We're the goy, we gonna be underneath your foot if we try you anyway. Why can't you just stand in a space where you say that's what it is and this is what we're doing? And the answer is because it wouldn't create the environment for them to fail. And spiritually what they're doing is moving in devilish ways, which is in fact a failing way of doing things each and every time. If what they were doing was created by God, there would be no need to lie about anything. There would be no need to live in lies. There would be no need to convince anybody anything. You wouldn't even have to destroy people to secure anything. Because God would secure it for you without the presence of needing to do any of that. And that's the point. It's like that. And with all of this, it effectively cuts off their ability to think for themselves. The way that this is all set up within their religion and within what it is they're doing, coupled with just the spiritual, natural evil of this all being as it is, they're not able to think their way through this. They're not willing to allow one another to think their way through this either. And those who bring about some critical thinking skills to the situation, they get thrown in prison. Like, that's what they do to their own people. It's devilish first, which is why it has so many holes and flaws and unnecessary movements within what it is they're doing. A lot. If you've ever heard of a basketball analyzer speak about players who shoot the ball, or they dribble a certain way or whatever, they will often mention certain players who are elite at what they do as players who don't engage in any unnecessary movement. He doesn't have any unnecessary movement in his shot. He doesn't have any unnecessary movement in his dribbles. He gets from one place to the next without any exertion of unnecessary movement. He's not jerking his head back when he moves forward. All of his energy goes into what ultimately matters in regards to his movement. Well, they're the opposite of that, Israel. They do all kinds of unnecessary movement in what it is they're exerting toward. Like, you don't even need to lie about all that. You plan on killing those people anyway. Why the hell are you lying to them? See, that's the part that doesn't register to me. They're sending out leaflets and pamphlets from the sky early on in this genocide. They may be still doing this now, but early on, they would tell people they had every intention of killing an hour and a half from now, an elaborate lie that is meant to instill in them a certain comfort. That's done out of the hatred in your heart. It doesn't matter at all what those people think if you're knocking them off. Why communicate with them at all? They can't leave the area. You see what I'm saying? You're trying to hurt them in one direction or another, but you plan on destroying the entire thing. So what does it matter that they believe that they're going to be able to get some food down the street as to which you bomb them down the street? You can bomb them anywhere. You just want to do cruel, unnaturally wicked stuff to fulfill your own nasty desires. That's really what they're about. It's the cruelty that they get off on. It's not just about being effective. They have unnecessary movement in their actions. That's what I come to understand. They get off on lying to people and then having people find their lies and then feeling like we're hopeless in finding their lies because that makes them feel like they're above all things, including accountability. It's a sick psychological game. If I tell you a lie that I know you're going to see is the truth, and then when you come back and accuse me of lying, I give you the finger, pretend like you're crazy and gaslight you, and then proceed to do weird things to you. It's like, it's a psychological thing. I'm getting off on that. There's no reason for me to do that. Your knowing my truth holds no consequence to me. I'm lying to you so I can create the environment of you feeling betrayed just off this sick nature of my deviousness. And that's how they get off. They're sick. And this is what I'm trying to explain to people. When you look into the behavior, what you find is unnecessary movement. Unnecessary movement. You know, if I walk past, let's say I got a rat infestation or a roach infestation in my home. What they got going on is the equivalent of putting on special uniforms with flags, turning on special music, creating a meal, fixing a feast to kill roaches. They look at these people like they're roaches. But what they do is for their own celebration and ultimately their own exhaustion, which speaks to the narcissism in their beliefs, that they should be celebrated for whatever they choose. And anyone that comes against them deserves the most ridiculous imaginable punishment. And furthermore, that you would be able to destroy them forever trying you reserves you the ability to celebrate in unimaginably exaggerated ways. This is what I see. This is a deep spiritual narcissism, aligned with the ideology that they're better than everybody else and are deserving of whatever it is that ultimately they feel they deserve. But here's the deep-rooted psychological screw in all of this. Everything, literally everything that they're doing, the foundation of everything that they do is falsehoods. Falsehoods, y'all. Lies. Let me explain this as well. As I continue to pay attention to them, you know what I'm finding? Excuse me, bro. I gotta step over you, man. Excuse me, brother. Thank you, man. As I find myself paying attention to what they're doing, what I find is the more I learn, the more I realize they're standing on lies amongst themselves that they actually believe, and that they have psyched themselves into believing you should believe. And where that begins and where that ends is not clear to them. They believe that they were owed, based on what it is that they say is written in their book, or that you may know is written in their book if you've read it, they are owed where Palestine currently is located. But when you look at the communications that took place before they stole that land, do you know they were trying to negotiate different places before they came to the conclusion that Palestine was the land they were stealing? That's what I've come to recently understand. They were negotiating with the UK different places that they were going to make the Jewish home. And they couldn't agree to anything on a couple of different tribes until they both landed on Palestine. So if they were promised Palestine several thousand years ago, where does this actually come in? Because they weren't even looking to take Palestine initially. They wanted to take a different land. They had their eyes on a different land, and the UK told them, no, you can't take that one. No, not that one. How about this one? No, you can't take that one. Well, how about Palestine? Okay, yeah, we could probably do Palestine. Cool, that's the one. But if Palestine was promised to them years ago, why the hell is that even, how does that come out? How does that even, why wouldn't Palestine be their first choice if they were promised it 4,000 years ago or whatever it was? This is what I'm talking about. They believe lies that they tell, and they swear to the lie. And the purpose of the lie is to convince the rest of us, the goy, that we are supposed to comply with their mission. But the lies have holes in them. You could fact check these lies with a simple Google search. So what's the purpose of lying? Why don't you just say, yo, I'm taking this? Because you're going to expose yourself as a pirate anyway when you do a little Google search. But you go about in that same breath rigging Wikipedia and various different things to align with whatever your narrative is, and silencing people who tell the truth. But then with the presence of your very own lies, you expose that you're not being honest. Unnecessary movements. And you got civilized, quote unquote, civilized Western countries following down the path of this logic. And so the presence of that makes you think, well, it's obviously not logical to follow these people. They obviously have them by the balls. Because nobody's going to follow this type of entity down the path of losing its own credibility. Not by choice. So you end up concluding through deductive reasoning that they have leverage on people, and that people are doing this against their own will. That they don't in fact have much support for what they're doing, just the presence of people thinking it's in their best interest to support them as they're doing it. Everything they're going out of their way to try to hide, they do a very poor job of hiding when it's time for them to open their mouths. And if you value yourself as the chosen people of God, why you do such a poor job of making your efforts make any sense and making your lies believable? Why do you exert with the bodies that you have that are chosen by God so much unnecessary movement that only welcomes the hate that you say you loathe coming at you? The insults that you ultimately are so offended by are what you inspire with all of this coming together. And yet you engage in it, which is why I tell you, they don't understand why they do what they do, but those who are spiritually inclined know exactly why. Because they're moving in the spirit of the enemy, looking to fail themselves above all else. They don't respect themselves, which is why they exert so much unnecessary energy, inspire so much naturally expected hatred, and then furthermore hurting the innocent. It's because they hate themselves. They're moving in the devilish confusion, and the devil hates himself and all the work for him. And it's so very easy to see if you understand these things. It's not hard to come to the conclusion that, yo, this is a Satanist entity, man. And of course it's going to pretend to be of God, just like every Satanist energy wants to hide behind the mask of something that's supposed to be of goodness. It's what a lie is all about. It's the essence of what lying actually is. The biggest lie told. And so it's like, man, at some point in time, when you look at this from a spiritual lens, which I've been doing the whole time, you stop fearing them. You don't allow yourself to even enter spaces where you fear them. For what? For what? They're working against themselves more than they do anything else. They inspire their own destruction more than any resistance ever would. They are their greatest resistance, and that's what they have no clue in regards to. Absolutely no clue. They do everything they can to inspire the worst toward them. Everything they can to make people protest and wish death and all these different things end up coming their way. It's what they do. And so as I'm someone who speaks on them, I'm supposed to fear them. They don't even work in their own favor. And on top of that, they feel their worst enemy is poor children. Poor children are their worst enemy, are their greatest threat, are the most innocent and harmless of us all. And I'm supposed to fear them? As a spiritually inclined individual who understands that his life is written by a living God, there's no way I'm gonna waste any of my time fearing this entity. I'm not doing it. The Lord didn't afford me that ignorance. I'm not gonna sit up here and pretend like these people they have any control. They can't even get out of their own way. They don't even know they're in their own way to do so. And I'm watching a bunch of bankrupt people worship money, adhering to them because they're fear what happens when they don't get what they're supposed to have, for which is not even confirmed, because half of what it is they're going after is not theirs as well. Colonial entities that want to keep bad things going, as we talked about. A lot of times, sinful energy, and I say this from within myself, sinful people tend to develop fears based on the need to either not be held accountable for their sins, or to uphold what it is that they gain from sin, or to uphold the ability to keep sinning, to keep feeling those demons. And so they develop fears from those spaces. And this is what I see from the surrounding allies of Israel. People who are engaging in what the Lord has helped me understand were abominations, fears, sinful fears and selfish fears inspired by the need to get away with sin, to continue to feed in sin, and continue to be able to be held above reproach of sin. And if they were to be strong enough and decent enough to discipline themselves against those sins, those fears would then be not present at all. And when you remove those fears, so too will you remove the unnecessary movements that take place because of them. So don't come to God, is what the Lord was saying. Don't come to God asking me to help you with things that you only fear because you want to keep sinning, or things you only fear because you're moving in selfish energy, or things you only fear because you don't have any faith that I exist in the first place. But those things don't have to be in place if not for you disciplining yourself to come to me with intention of submitting, rather than coming to me with contingencies and things that ultimately you are willing to hold on to despite me telling you not to do it. If you do what I tell you to do, none of those things are going to be in place. None of those fears are in place, and none of the movement that you have to engage in to protect yourself from what it is you fear will ever be necessary. And so when you look at people like Israel and the energies that they're engaging in, more than half of what they, and the people who are allies to them in their genocide, more than half of that stuff is this in place. People who are engaging in sinful fears and the movements that come from trying to protect themselves from it. That was the essence of what the Lord was trying to tell me when that scenario came about, for which that even was manifested as a thought in my head. Like, this is why I was showing you sinful fears are no good, because you're seeing a lot of people in positions of power engage in sinful fears and movements that are supposed to protect them from sinful fears. I gotta attack first because they're gonna kill me. No, they only want to kill you because you're trying to kill them. If you don't try to kill them, they ain't gonna want to kill you. If you don't engage in the disgraceful behavior toward them, they're gonna leave you alone. But you trying your very best to engage in sinful fears, actions, and as a result, you need all this to happen, and so that you can continue enabling yourself to do the things that you have no business doing. Just stop doing those things, and you ain't gonna have those problems. Don't start nothing, won't be nothing. That's the essence of Israel and all of their allies. In their own little pockets of the world, in their own mirror, they're engaging in some form of sinful fear instead of following God the way he told them to. And because of it, the things that they're doing, they feel are absolutely and utterly unavoidable, because they are not strong enough to discipline themselves against that for which God told them not to do in the first damn place. And if they trusted in God, believed in God, and knew God, they would just follow what it is he says, so they wouldn't have to go in through all the stuff that ultimately brings about all that paranoia that has them aggressive, engaging in all types of stuff they had no business doing. It's not that hard. Do as I say, you avoid the problems that I tell you. You're going to come from doing things that I told you not to do. Very simple. There's a hole. Step around it. Don't tell me you need to go back the other way and skip another way and find a plane to fly over the hole. None of that. Just go around it. And you're so afraid of falling in the hole. God told you not to fall in the hole, but you got to cross this way. Why? Because that's what you want to do. Well, God told you not to do that. So now you're preparing all types of different things. And what happens when you fall into the hole? You're doing all types of stuff that are centered around the idea that either you're going to fall in the hole or push somebody else into the hole so that you don't fall into the hole. All these different things. If you just do what God tells you to do, you ain't got to worry about none of that. Don't come to God asking for solutions for things that are only in place because you don't believe in God. It's essentially what it is. You got nations moving this way, entire nations, saying that they do this for God, but because they don't believe in God, they're trying to protect themselves against things that come, that they inspire from doing things that God would never want them to do. Don't steal them people's land. Don't lie. Don't hurt children. Then you have to worry about none of the stuff that comes with doing those things. But because you are forcing yourself to do those things in the lies that you believe, because you have no faith and you're trying to control the world instead of adhere to a God that controls the world, you're going to find yourself doing unnecessary moving in sinful, selfish, evil fears, tortured by those fears and bound by them just the same. This is what you're seeing entire nations do, ladies and gentlemen. This is what you're seeing them do. They'll lie about a lie, about a lie, about a lie, about a lie. Expose two lies to keep from exposing one lie that's bigger. Look like a liar in everything that they do, but feel confident in the lie that they are greater than you, and then in the same space try to do everything they can to keep from being seen, but not enough, so they're seen anyway. And then they stand on that because they're not afraid of being seen, except for they are, which is why they told a lie in the first place, and the confusion itself just makes them look crazy. That confusion right there makes them look absolutely insane. And that's exactly what it's supposed to do. Devilish confusion will drive you into spaces that don't make any sense. Have you doing things twice that are supposed to represent different reactions, different consequences. The essence of insanity is what they engage in. These people hate us. So what are we going to do? Inspire hatred within them. And then what? Stand back and watch. As what happens? Everybody sees us as a victim and we're the victim. No, you're not a victim. You're creating a space from which people will be aggressive naturally from what it is that you're inspiring within them. No, you hate us and you don't want to see us succeed. If you just accept that we are the leaders, you're not even responsible enough to stand in your own truth and make good decisions within it. You're not even strong enough to discipline yourself against things that would otherwise inspire your own torture. And furthermore, you are becoming the very enemy that you're ultimately saying that you're afraid of. Aggressively in protection of yourself, for which it doesn't inspire that at all. How am I supposed to look at you if not to say that you are not responsible enough to control any damn thing? And yet you found a way to rig the world. You went through so many steps to rig the world just so you can behave like this when you have all the power. Make it make sense. Trying to steal a little bitty piece of land, or even a big piece of land for that matter, if you want to call it that, in a world that you have rigged completely. You got people all over the world in positions of power yielding to you, and you're trying to steal land from poor people. Unnecessary movement. With the money that we're sending you to kill the Palestinians, you could build a space station on Mars, and probably are, but still value Palestine more. Why? Because it allows you to inflict the most impossible pain and live in the most ridiculous shame above reproach or whatever confusion that comes with that, for which you get off on. There's nobody to oppress on Mars. You'd be bored there. There's nobody to inflict pain upon in Mars. You'd be bored there. Israel? That's why. That's why. Man, a lot of y'all don't even know why y'all dying out there for this IDF. You're dying for the IDF because of an ideology that worships Satan, that hates itself. I saw a picture of 7 20-year-old girls, 21, young girls. They all dead. Why? Because they died for the IDF. You know, in one flurry, they all got bombed at once. These are all models, beautiful looking women from all over the world coming to represent the ideology of Satan in Zionism. Lives lost. These are mothers, potentially one day, if they were to live long enough to see what they were doing made no damn sense. I look at them the same way I look at these people dying in these streets and gangs. Young people, able-bodied people getting shot down in gangs. Why? Because they follow devilish ideologies that ultimately are meant for their own destruction. It ain't no different. It's the same thing. It's the same devil killing the same youth. Joining something they want to be a part of, thinking they're good for doing evil and dying because of it. Never getting a chance to see themselves grow old or even grow mature enough to know that what they were engaging in was stupid. It's the same devil. And I tell you, no matter what religion you are in, it doesn't matter what walk of life you're in, it doesn't matter what time you're living in, the devil is still trying to rob people of lives in every walk of life, no matter what you are. You could be black, white, Hispanic, Asian. The devil's trying to take you from your people at all times. So when you see people like them die this way, or you see people that look like me die that way, it's the same thing. The devil's looking to take lives from young people before they ever bloom into what it is they're supposed to be. You can follow this ideology, that ideology. If it engages in violence for the sake of protection, it's going to get people killed. If it's engaging in devilishness as a form of self-exhaustion, it's going to fail. It don't matter what walk of life or religion you're in. It's all the same devil. Chasing the same emptiness that comes with stuff that ain't real, man. And it inspires hatred. Every bit of it inspires hatred. You got people celebrating these 7 20-year-old girls dying. The devil exalts himself in those spaces. He lights a cigar when he sees you celebrating those little girls, those young girls passing. They engage in evil, yes. And the intention was to have them be dead. And then from there to have people so angry with what it is that they were about that they would celebrate their death. This is what the devil's about. It's what he do. That's what I'm telling y'all, man. A lot of this stuff it's not that hard, man. The human condition is the same thing no matter where you go. No matter what you do, you got the same devil trying to take your soul, man, and cut your life down before you realize what it's actually about. And ain't nobody exempt from this, no matter what your religion, no matter what your belief or non-belief, whatever nobody's exempt from that. He's trying to snatch it all, man. And he's trying to make it so that other people celebrate that he does it. Hate, fear, sinful fears, selfish fears, inspiring so many unnecessary movements, so much ridiculous activity that doesn't exalt anyone toward anything other than death. I'm telling y'all, man, this is not even that hard to see. It's just that so many of us are engaging in sinful cultures that are cloaked in self-loathing, self-destruction in our own respective corners, to when we look at someone else's corner and see that, we don't even recognize it's the same thing. We don't even recognize it's the same thing. Yeah, they do it for a different reason, but it's the same thing. It's cutting down your youth. It's cutting down your numbers. You're engaging in something that the devil wants you to do. You die, they die, everybody dies, he celebrates. At some point in time, somebody from behind the walls of these behaviors and these cultures needs to start becoming a bit more intuitive as to what it is that's happening there. You're not saving yourself. You weren't chosen for anything. These are lies. These are lies. You know what the Lord showed me in a dream a couple days ago? Even if you're a rich person, you could serve somebody who don't have nothing. That's the point. If I'm chosen, that means I'm giving the most. When you look at those who were exalted in these various religions, whether it be the Prophet Muhammad or Jesus or whatever, the thing that's consistent with them is that they were given the most and they were willing to give the most. That's what it's about. When you have more, you can give more. That's all it's about. Strong enough for the mind to be able to relinquish so much. That's what makes them chosen. Not that they can hoard so much, but that they can give so much and not be broken by the notion of being broke when being rich. That's what inspires more of what it is that ultimately these people think they're trying to get. Devotion and loyalty and people willing to run through a brick wall for them. It comes from your willingness to give, be unselfish, and leave yourself vulnerable in the presence of others who may not have half as much as you for their sake.
Guest number 94, please. Guest number 94.
And when you have more and you give more, you get that. You don't get that through violence and struggling, putting people through struggle and pushing people into corners and making them fear you. That doesn't inspire any of that. That don't inspire none of that. What inspires that is love, devotion, unselfishness, sacrifice, the presence of support. That's what inspires all these things these people want. But they want to go about it the easy route. They fear the things that come from continuing to be fearful of what happens when they can't feed their demons. And as a result, they end up doing unnecessary movements that bring about horrible results and horrible reputations, when all they had to do to get what they wanted was to just do what God told them to do. Whatever it was, just do what he told you to do. Not what you lied and told everybody else he told you to do so that you can feel strong in his presence of being weak, but actually inspiring strength through the patience of allowing oneself to endure, retreat to whatever spaces that would otherwise allow for you to recuperate whatever's lost in that endurance, and then coming back stronger. They're impatient. If nothing else, these devilish entities are just impatient because they think they know what comes with what. They look at their ever-dying bodies and they say, we only have but so much time. We don't have time. The risk of this not being what I want it to be is not something I'm willing to risk. Why? Because you're weak. I got to hoard everything. I got to rig the world to be what I want it to be so that right now I can receive what I need right now. But you're influencing a reality that is not best for everyone. So you become a tyrant and something that the world needs to cleanse away so that it doesn't harm everyone. You become a cancer of the world trying to feed your own self at the expense of everyone else. Don't you see how that doesn't equate to you ultimately having long-lasting happiness or long-lasting power or whatever? You end up being something the world needs to cleanse away. A cancer. That's not a solution to what it is that you ultimately want. Sinful fears, the willingness to eat away at everything to self-preserve. That's what they are. That's what Israel is. That's what white supremacy is. That's what the devil's about. It will tear everyone else down to lift itself up when it hasn't even figured itself out. And as a result, it creates long-lasting, deep hatred. And furthermore, a need to keep on engaging in unnecessary movements to protect itself from what? Sinful fears. Selfish fears, energy that ultimately is not necessary at all if for the obedience and adherence to a living God that wants the best for everyone, not just you. And if he made you the chosen one for whatever, it's because he intends to exalt everyone somehow through you being in that position. It's not meant to exalt you, it's meant to exalt him. And if what you're doing doesn't exalt him, then chances are it wasn't him that told you to do it. Spiritual understanding will help you avoid a lot of unnecessary bull stuff on the planet. Unnecessary. And people teaching each other the wrong stuff for generations at a time, and then furthermore creating an environment for which is not safe to think freely, will coerce people into the spaces of cult-like behavior that ultimately you're seeing, driven by sinful fears, selfish fears, etc. That's what you're seeing. Israelis living and dying, not even thinking for themselves. Americans living and dying, not even thinking for themselves. This is what we do. Why? Oh no, I ain't thought that far ahead. We just do it. Okay, you're gonna die doing it too. Yeah, that's what we're here for. Like, what are you talking about? There's just more bones to step over, man. You ain't really doing nothing. I tell you, there's graveyards all over the world full of people like this. And won't even think their way through the propaganda placed upon their heads, and they living and dying for the shit because they want to fit in. You place them anywhere in the world, you give them whatever the culture is, they're gonna want to fit in no matter what it is, and they'll live and die for that too. They ain't smart. Not spiritually, not mentally, not emotionally, none of that. They ain't smart. And that's the essence of what most human beings are, which is why you see genocide being allowed and people going along with it to their own detriment, dying and stuff in wars to uphold the killing of children. Because people are stupid as hell. That's why. It boils down to stupidity. It don't boil down to anything else. Just feeble, sheepish stupidity. And that's why I don't necessarily find myself celebrating these people when these things happen to them for them doing things they had no business doing. No, I don't celebrate that. They're idiots. They needed to be taught better, raised better, placed in an environment where it's okay to think for your damn self. And not indoctrinate an ideology of self-destruction and self-exhaustion. It is exhausting and they end up perishing because of it. That is what happens to them. A difference between a gang member and an IDF soldier? Not much. Not much. They may not do this sin, they may not do that evil deed, but they're doing some evil deed. They're engaging in some type of aggression. It's ultimately going to get them killed, and they think it's fine. Yes, it's the same thing. Because we're dying for what? For what it is that we believe. What do you believe? Some lies, things that are not true. Surface level nonsense given to you by somebody who didn't love you at all. Somebody who likely didn't even know they were engaging in devilish energy, but were, passionately. Same thing. Cutting you down early in life for their causes, and you celebrate the whole way through. Stupidity. Beyond anything else, it's just stupidity, man. Spiritual stupidity is basically what this is. Because if you saw this through any type of intelligence lens, from a spiritual perspective, you would know not to follow this shit, no matter how many people go along with it. That's why I look at a Zionist, I just say, you're an idiot, bro. You're not that smart. We could have put you anywhere in the world. You would have went along with whatever stupid devilish shit was going on in that space. I'm just being honest with you. You just happen to have the ideology of this. You think you're a Jew, so you get to do this. If you were raised in a neighborhood where gang members was going about their business that way, you'd be a gang member too. If you were raised in a space where energy was done a certain other type of third way that was self-destructive, your ass would do that dumb shit too. You ain't chosen for nothing. You just one more nonsensical entity not contributing to anything that ultimately helps humanity endure. That is what you are. And somebody needs to tell you that and help you understand that as you continue to go about your selfish, self-destructive and confusing ways. Confusing for yourself more than anyone else. Because people like myself see straight through it. and all these different things tumble forward to so much of what you see that causes so many people pain, so much unnecessary nonsense that the devil celebrates. People throwing each other in cages and stuff like that, celebrating the nonsense, thinking they're exalted and doing the same shit that we used to condemn. As I find myself saying the same thing not too many days ago, maybe about 3 days ago, in the same spot. And the same stuff that we used to condemn our ancestors for are the same devilish, confusing, unnecessary behaviors that we're seeing this generation of people do. Throwing people in cages because of their skin color. Using law as a reason to allow themselves to get away with it. You can draw a line in the sand on any damn thing. Just like the Jews have done. Not the real Jews, but the Zionist Jews have done. Telling themselves that it's okay for them to lie to people. It's okay for them to hurt people. It's okay for them to do weird stuff to children and all that stuff. They draw a line in the sand anywhere, call it a law. And you draw your line in the sand as a means of hurting other people of different races, making it impossible for them to get paperwork and then demand they have it, and then proceeding to send them to places like Alligator, Alcatraz, and stupid stuff like that, treating people poorly, only to find your grandkids condemning you for it. It's like, yo, when are y'all gonna stop doing this? Calling yourself loving yourself, are you sure? Is that your final answer? It's not smart. That's all it is. Somebody gave you something to think and you thought it. Somebody gave you some ideology that exalts yourself and leaves you weak, and you bought it as strong. I'm better than those people, so whatever natural insecurities I have are masked by this ideology that overall makes me better than everyone else. So therefore, I get to give myself passes for anything and everything, and I get to call myself a victim at all times, and I get to do whatever I want to anybody, and never have to live with my mind when considering these things that I'm doing that hurt other people, because the ideology masks me from it. The ideology protects me from all things. That's what you're seeing is weakness. Weakness in that form, engaged in by people who have a lot, who stole a lot. They stole a lot. That's why they have a lot, because they stole a lot. With that same ideology back in their play, giving them a false sense of courage. But it still bleeds through in some exaggerated way that they're weak, because what do when they want to go to war? They go after children, poor children. They want to steal land from people who don't have a damn thing. Showing them who they really are when they look in the mirror. The most important thing for them to understand is that when you decide you want to exalt all of the power you have, the first thing you do is turn to people who don't have a damn thing, take the smallest, youngest of them, and target them for your own self-preservation. That should tell you everything you need to know about yourself. Certainly tell all of us who are paying attention and looking through this with a spiritual lens who you are. That's the whole point. I think I'm gonna fear them. I serve the God that created all of us. I don't fear them. They're not smart enough to fear him. The hell I fear him. They think they love themselves when they engage in this bullshit. They don't even know where the hell they're going. If anything, they need somebody like me to help them. Guide them toward a space of where things that they do make sense. No, they don't know what the hell they're doing. That's the whole point. And so that's what I'm going to say to you guys, man. I will speak against these idiots till there's no reason not to. Or until I'm out of here, whichever comes first. It ain't going to be a situation where I'm sitting up here saying, man, I'm worried about what don't come my way because they control so much. They shouldn't control shit. It's sinful fears that allowed them to even find themselves in those positions. It's the lack of faith that people were engaging in that would allow for us to be backed into the actions of allowing them into the positions of power that they're in. A lack of self-discipline that allowed the people who they have by the balls to have that much leverage over them. If you would discipline yourself against all that goofy stuff you had no business doing, they wouldn't be able to coerce you into spaces where you're celebrating them for doing shit you don't believe in. If you didn't worship money so damn much and you adhere to a living God and didn't find yourself so fearful of everything that comes with not going after money above all costs, you would not find yourself with ideologies above your heads, belittling your people as you continue to try to convince yourself you're the most powerful people in the world, right, America? If you wasn't doing the same shit, showing them how to do it, it wouldn't be done. You and your sinful fears, your lack of faith, your self-exhaustion, your selfishness, your selfish fears put you in a position to where all of this is happening. And just like every other bit of sin, it doesn't only affect you, it causes other people. The worst of things come their way because of your choices. That's the essence of devilishness. It's not just going to affect you while you being selfish, it's going to affect everybody else. And you're none the wiser. You exalt yourself through it all and believe your own lies in that same breath. It's craziness. It doesn't even make any sense. And you tell yourself that you're making all the sense in the world, that you love yourself. But you're engaging in behavior that exposes yourself and inspires the very hatred that you ultimately say you're offended by. That you're chosen, right? Video 44. Thank y'all for watching. Come on.